I'm in the dark where nobody sees me. You hear my heart, a lovely melody beating. You take my hand, ask me to dance, and suddenly I'm in a trance. I just see you shine with the moon, softly you croon.
Situation report. My bike was parked back there. It's not there now. I think it was stolen. I'm talking to the people at the hotel, and then probably gonna have to talk to the police and figure out what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what it all means yet. We're still finding out. I don't want people to get the wrong impression or the wrong thing. It was one bad person who did something. I thought the motorcycle was safe in the motorcycle parking lot. It was obviously not. In the future, and a lesson learned is I should have done more to prevent somebody being able to steal it too. But I'm very lucky. Some contacts that I have made reached out to some people, and a lawyer got a hold of me, dropped what he was doing, came over and spent the day and helped me navigate all of the bureaucracy and the Mexican paperwork that I needed to do to file all of the stuff and get all the paperwork so that I need to leave Mexico without the motorcycle. I imported it. It's tied to my passport and I don't have it. So I needed all the paperwork just in case. So yeah, I think what the plan is that I am going to stay here for the next week or so and see if it is found somehow. If it's not, then I'm probably gonna have to go back to the States and figure out what's next. If I'm gonna buy something, what I'm gonna buy, and what it means for the trip and where I'm going and timelines, and reevaluate some things and see how much money this is gonna cost me in the end. So that's the situation.
So that was my initial reaction when it happened. So let me go over a little bit of what happens when something like your motorcycle is stolen in a foreign country. You really have two options. You either need to contact the consulate to get interpretive help and legal help and things like that if you aren't lucky enough to have somebody who can help you with that. I got lucky. I contacted the people that were able to get me help with the language barrier, the interpretation, filing the paperwork. The prosecutors in Mexico initially didn't want to accept what I was doing and me filing the paperwork because they couldn't talk directly to me. They were able to talk through some interpreter, and it wasn't an official interpreter from the consulate. So, but because the person who came to help me, Gustavo, was a lawyer, he was able to talk to them, show them his credentials, and get it done where we were sort of co-defendants in the case. So he filed it with me on my behalf. So in Mexico, at least, you need to do two things. You have to file a police report, and the police did come to the hotel and they took that report. But you also then have to present your case and file it with the public minister's office. So we had to go there, wait around for a long time, file all this, they do the paperwork. Then after that, it takes a couple of weeks at least until all the paperwork for that is done. And what they do is they give you a authenticated copy. It's about 50 pages worth of documentation on everything from the case. They need pictures of the motorcycle, copies of all the paperwork, all of that. It all gets compiled into this along with all of their paperwork.
I'm here at the public minister's office, and I got what I needed, an authenticated copy so I could get out of the country when I go to close out my tip.
And you will need that for canceling the importation permit on your motorcycle. Now, the cancellation of it is the tricky part. So here's my experience. Take it for what it is. I'm one person. I was unable to do it at the Mexico City airport. I had no other option but to fly out. Right, I didn't have a vehicle to drive out. The kind of people in Mexico who I stayed with for nearly a month one of their cousins was a lawyer, and she drove me to the Mexico City airport, and we got there about 5 hours before I needed to check in. So about 7 hours before my flight, so that we had a lot of time to try to get this paperwork sorted out. And we ran around the Mexico City airport and never really got anywhere. The first customs office, one guy looks at the paperwork, shakes his head, taps the guy next to him. They both look at it. They both shake their heads. They go back. A manager comes out with them. All three of them look at it. They all shake their heads. They say, "We don't know what to do with this. We don't deal with vehicles coming in and out. We deal with people and the things they bring in and out on airplanes." They said, "Try Terminal 2 or Terminal 3. And basically walked around the airport going through the cycle, and nobody there was ever able to say, "We can actually take care of this." All of them said you need to go to a land border to do this. So I made the decision to fly back to the US without actually completing that paperwork, because I didn't know how long it would take me to try to complete it. I didn't know where to go. I didn't have any contacts in Mexico City or a place to stay. I think that if you were to go to the main SAT immigration office in Mexico City, you might have a chance to get it done there. That would be the only place I can think of other than a land border. So what I did was flew home, and eventually I went down to the border at Tijuana, and I went there and I was able to, I hope, get what I need to done. Once you have that authenticated packet, you have to go to the land border, and you don't need to go to the Bannercito where you would normally check it out. They can't do anything about it. They send you to immigration. The immigration office there for the vehicles can't do it. Again, I talked to them, and of course I ended up there on a Saturday, and he said nobody can help you until Monday. And what you actually have to do is need to go near the border, and there is a customs legal office there. And when I got there, I did some asking, people pointing me to different areas, but eventually I did get there, and they were able to help me. The guy knew exactly what I needed to do. He had the form. He checked through all the paperwork. He verified that every single thing they need were there. If you don't have it included in the paperwork, you need to make sure that you have copies of your passports, your driver's license, the original registration, the original title, pictures of the motorcycle, plus all that documentation showing your case number, the VIN number, and it needs to all be there, and it all needs to match. He checked all that stuff, and he stamped a bunch of things, put it in an envelope, stamped it a few more times, and told me that what happens now is that gets sent to Mexico City in their central processing unit, and that it'll eventually be verified that the VIN number matches the case number, and it's all legit and it's not forged and all of that stuff, and then they'll remove the cancellation. That process can take up to a year. I do not have an answer on it. As of now, I cannot bring a personal vehicle into Mexico again because I have not canceled a import permit. So I either owe them a huge amount in taxes that can be, when all said and done, between fees and the taxes, can be close to the value of the bike, they tell me. So it is not a small amount. So yeah, that's the process. I certainly recommend not getting your vehicle stolen in a foreign country. It is a lot of paperwork, and realistically, unless you are very, very fluent in the language, you're going to need help to do it. So you either need to make contacts along the way, or you have to consult with your country's consulate to get that if you don't have the help that I had. So I hope that sort of explains the process. So what's going to happen with the videos is you're going to see the next couple of videos are going to be about my time in Mexico between when the bike was stolen and when I left. So I have a whole lot of people to thank. I have a whole lot of people who really helped me. When the motorcycle was stolen, I contacted Cesar in Durango, who was in the Devil's Backbone video. And he got in touch with a motorcycle travelers group for Mexico, and they came together, and that's where they came and got the legal help, and I ended up staying in a hotel with One of the women there, her name's Carla, she took absolutely fantastic care of me for the entire time. And the local motorcycle club that she's there and part of, the president of Martin, loaned me a motorcycle to use while I was there. And so that's what you're going to see is the adventures while I was there. I'm incredibly lucky. The hospitality and help that I was given, that really makes all the difference on the difference between this being a real tragedy and maybe something that would have changed my view on the trip. Instead, what I got was a fantastic experience and maybe the type of travel experience that we all really wish we could have. Unfortunately, the way I had to do that was to lose a motorcycle. But when you really need help and you have nothing, like I was, I was there with my motorcycle luggage, my stuff, and no way to go anywhere, and I don't speak the language very well. So I will be forever grateful for all that help and all the smiles and the good times. I had such a great time while I was there in Ixmiquilpan and El Tepe. Oh, yeah. So, that covers really what happened. So keep watching the channel. The trip goes on. There's a lot more to happen. If you follow me on my other social media, you might kind of have an idea of what's next. But yeah, more to come. The trip goes on.
This is my temporary new ride. I was loaned this since my bike was stolen, so I can get around and get to the store and run errands, get food, things like that.
Our tomorrows yesterday.